What does all of this mean for J-Lo? Is it possible that the feds are already talking to her?
It's absolutely possible, and I would say you would have now she may, divorce herself for the whole thing and say, no, I don't remember, I wasn't there, it never happened. But yeah, she's accused of not only carrying the gun into the club for Diddy, but then once the altercation happened, handing Diddy the gun.
At this point, I feel like I just need to make a Jennifer Lopez playlist and be done with it because I've covered her so much recently. But there are some things that even I have not been piecing together, which is pretty incredible because I feel like I've covered her enough. Conspiracy hat Amy, there may be a reasoning as to why all of a sudden we are being bombarded with divorce rumors, sources coming up. I mean, I will read you some of these headlines. Some of these headlines are just crazy, all right? To the point where it's like it's being shoved down our throats a little bit too much. It's either the whole world is rooting for them to get divorced or they're trying to cover up something. And I'm not normally one for conspiracies, all right? I like a bit of gossip, but I'm not one for conspiracies. And we're talking about what's been happening with P. Diddy, aka Sean Combs, with his lawsuit that Lil Rod has filed against him. Let's not forget, it's a $30 million lawsuit. It's a big lawsuit, okay? Diddy has had his home raided. We have had Cassie and that horrific video that's just come out of him brutally assaulting her in a hotel hallway. Countless other women, even before Cassie came forward last November, I think, and that was settled extremely quickly. Even before then, there were multiple women, even some Jane Does, okay? Even some people who did not want to be known. One person that was under the age of 18 when all of this was happening to her. Of course, they are they are their own separate cases. A lot of stuff's going on with P. Diddy, and a lot of celebrities are now speaking out against him. Now, this does make more sense because Jennifer Lopez and Diddy were actually in a relationship back in the 90s, okay? They were in a relationship and they were kind of like a power couple, right? I was born in 1996, so I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know the law. The only law that I know is stuff that I can read, because by the time that the shooting happened in that club, that's 1999. So I was just about forming proper sentences at this point. If we are aware of that situation, it's now being dragged back into this lawsuit as Lil Rod has quite literally stated in it that Diddy was the person who proceeded to shoot. And not only that, but J-Lo was in fact the one who smuggled the gun into the club and handed it to him.
AKA J-Lo carried the gun into the club for him and passed him the gun after he got into an altercation with another individual. Another huge name that was dropped in this civil suit is Jennifer Lopez, or J-Lo, who was dating Diddy at the time. And according to Lil Rod's lawsuit, she carried an illegal firearm that was used in the shooting. Now, she was charged at the time, but then those charges were dropped.
A lot of people go like, oh, we kind of already knew this. But there's been people that have come on recently, like within the past month, attorneys, lawyers, people are saying that they could reopen this case, but because it's been such a long time since it's happened, people are more likely to come forward. Now, we're going to get onto that in just a minute, because I just have a sneaky suspicion that someone in her team, someone is going around saying all of this about her and Ben, because they're not wanting to have this put back into the spotlight again. Because a month ago, people were starting to piece together and go, Jennifer Lopez, oh, she is in relation to this. Because if it turns out that Diddy was in fact the person who did it, she could also get charged because she's technically the one that passed it to him. Anyway.
No, I looked straight forward ahead and I watched the muzzle flash from both of their guns and I felt the impact to my face instantly. J-Lo testified at the grand jury, as did many other people. It needs to be reopened because if that is in fact the case, she carried the gun in and she lied to the grand jury.
Headlines, right? One here, Jennifer Lopez is reportedly upset with Ben Affleck for telling her she's never satisfied. And this does make sense. Okay, we all know what a diva Jennifer Lopez is. Okay, we know this. We have seen this firsthand. She is a diva. She treats other people terribly. We now know this, and she's totally out of touch with reality. Direct quote from a source, Ben feels like Jen has a hard time feeling satisfied, and that is one of the issues they're facing. Ben is one of the only people who feels comfortable enough to be honest and real with Jen. It's part of why Jen loves him, but also why she's upset with him. She tries to play it off like she doesn't care what the public thinks about her, but she loves her fans so much, so their feedback does impact her. Ben and Jen are going through normal problems and nothing scandalous is going on. Then have another one that is page 6. Ben Affleck has come to his senses about Fever Dream, about Jennifer Lopez. There is no way this is going to work.
Hell, J-Lo has finally met her match. Jennifer Garner recently visited the home of her ex-husband, Ben Affleck. While speculation that his marriage to Jennifer Lopez is experiencing difficulties and they are heading for a divorce, will the real Bennifer please stand up?
I made a video and I do firmly stand by the fact that, like, if I was Ben, I'd want to get the hell out of there, because I think the way that she's gone about some things, like reading that whole entire book, like that Ben wrote her, like all these poems or words or whatever he was writing, she showed it to everyone even though he's really, really private. Her starting up that Delola, the Delulu line, even though he's an alcoholic and he can't drink because he's got a problem with it, but she then decides to crack out a alcohol line even though she says she doesn't drink. There's just loads of things, and the fact that she just seemingly, they just seem like polar opposites. However, I do think that as invested as people are into this divorce storyline, and by the way, this is completely alleged, complete conspiracy theory, tinfoil hat Amy, okay? But there is I can't help but feel that there is just so much bombardment of sources. How many sources do we need telling people kind of things that, nah, do you know what I mean? And it's sending people on a rampage in one direction. Meanwhile, we have Lil Rod in his lawsuit, who quite literally turned around and said no in the 1999 shooting that happened when even J-Lo and Diddy got arrested. Diddy went to trial, J-Lo got let go. Someone else, I don't know who the other person was, he actually ended up going to prison, or he ended up being prosecuted, and Diddy was let off. Lil Rod's now coming out and saying, actually, no, Diddy did do that. He told people that he did do that. J-Lo was involved with that and she was let go. Like, literally, here is her mugshot. I'm pretty sure this is her mugshot. I saw it on Law and Crime Network. So it does, and all of this is starting to come out within the month. However, it is very, very, very obvious that if there were a couple to be having marital issues right now, it would be them too.
So she would certainly be on the witness list to talk to, take a statement from her, see what her recollection is, see what her attitude is. And yeah, she'd be somebody that they would be very interested in speaking with.
This could be reopened if there is another kind of side to the story, if more people come forward, if what Little Rod is saying is true, if they're able to get a different angle. The double jeopardy, whereby I'm no law expert, but it means that you can't be tried for the same crime, if I've got that one right. They basically turn around and say it's a federal thing and that double jeopardy does not exist, that would not exist in this case. They would be able to, you know, if Diddy was the one that did it, and J-Lo was the one who passed the thingy over, then yes, it can be reopened, even though it's the same crime. Hope that's making some sense.
What would it take to reopen an investigation into something that happened 25 years ago?
Well, it would take a different look at it. He was acquitted on state murder charges. Now, federal charges can be different. You can have RICO, you can have a continuing criminal enterprise, you can have, so the underlying acts, the predicate acts, if we used to call them when I worked RICO cases, a RICO predicate act, something like that 1999 case, and you can use it as a predicate act. You can bring it up. You can, when I worked cold cases of this type, sometimes with time, with the passage of time, people aren't as intimidated and they're not as threatened, and they get away from the person who was the threat. They feel more forthcoming to testify or to give statements in lieu of testimony. I think that that case is going to be part of it. In the aftermath of that, they have witnesses that say he bragged about intimidating witnesses, paying off jurors, that kind of stuff. If you go back and you find that juror that was paid off, or jurors, multiple, that may have been paid off, certainly that gives you the impetus to kind of come forward and refresh those charges on a federal case. So the federal cases will be a little different. The charges are a little different, so it's not double jeopardy.
There's talks about him bragging about the crime after it happened, and then also saying allegedly he was like paying off witnesses, paying off like enforcement or whatever. Like apparently he was paying off a lot of people. If it was in fact Diddy who was the one who was responsible for that, and it wasn't the other guy that may or may not still be in prison. Like I say, my knowledge is fairly limited. If that is the case, then J-Lo would then be held responsible for something, wasn't she? Because she's the one who took the weapon in and then handed it to him. If you see what I'm trying to get at. Like, Jalulu behind bars, and I have not really heard anything back from this in the past month, but yeah, I mean, tabloids were picking it up. There was one that I found from The Daily Fail of the shaming truth about Jennifer Lopez's dark past as Diddy's alleged gun mule. Maureen Callahan slams her, Ashton Kutcher, and all of Hollywood for their cowardly silence. The Times Square nightclub incident the same year in which 3 people were shot, 1 young woman in the face, Combs, the prime suspect, and J-Lo, his alleged gun mule. Lopez was arrested, as was Combs. She spent 14 hours in custody before being released without charges, but not before allegedly demanding someone fetch her some cuticle cream. Priorities. Combs was not found guilty, but his protege Shane Barrow, long suspected to be the fall guy, did 10 years. Victim Natania Rubin to this day contends that it was Combs who shot her, not Shine. I literally watched them pull out the guns. I had a clear point of view. I mean, for God's sake, I got shot in my nose. As for J-Lo, a recent lawsuit filed by Rodney Lil Rod Jones alleges that on the night of the 1999 club shooting, it was Lopez who carried the gun into the club for Combs and passed him the gun after he got into an altercation with another individual. Lopez has so far remained silent about what happened that night and what really went on in their 2-year relationship. So yeah, so we can see that one there, and then there's another one right here as well. Over the years, Lopez has stayed pretty tight-lipped about her relationship. However, she confirmed in 2022 that Combs was unfaithful and told British Elle in 2000 that the shooting was a complete nightmare. I was scared to death in the car. I had absolutely no idea what was going on. But Lopez may have to relive that nightmare again if the shooting case is reopened. Over the past week, news and entertainment sites also have reminded the public about Lopez's relationship with Combs and her presence at the nightclub. Oh, just to add as well, because for some reason I did not finish the rest of that article, this woman, right, this brave woman is literally risking... She's risking going back into surgery to have fragments of the bullet removed so that she can prove that it was in fact Diddy that did it. If it is found out that he was the one who did it, that will have repercussions on J-Lo. More and more people are starting to speak out about this, and it's not looking too good.
Yeah, I watched the entire thing out. I had no reason to believe that it would escalate to a shooting. It was just male machismo and bravado at first, pushing and shoving, raised voices, hands. But then I saw them reach in their waist and draw from their hip. I instantly turned to my friends and told them, be careful, watch out. And when I turned back, I know, and I've said over and over, I've heard the voice of God said, you are about to be there. And as I said, no, I looked straight forward ahead and I watched the muzzle flash from both of their guns and I felt the impact to my face instantly. J-Lo testified at the grand jury, as did many other people. It needs to be reopened because if that is in fact the case, she carried the gun in and she lied to the grand jury. Here's what I know beyond a shadow of a doubt. Respectability politics. He was a notable figure. He was a multimillionaire. He had popularity, fame, all of a perfect storm of you get away with it. Those who have the money can oftentimes get away with their crimes. Unfortunately, and those who don't have the same social ranking are overlooked. Yeah. If I didn't suffer, I'm willing to have a doctor remove a part of the 9mm bullet in my face so that they can use it as evidence if need be for this trial. And it may cost me my life.
You would be willing to do that now?
I'm willing to do.
All of this is to say is that, yeah, if this does get reopened, that's obviously not a good thing for Lopez. My kind of conspiracy tinfoil hat is that are they having people just send in things just so this is all being blown up? I don't know. I really don't know because like I said in my last video, supposedly he's not even living there and whatever's going on and they've been spotted out together. I don't really know. But I do just think it's a bit of a strange coincidence. But is it really? Considering Ben looks like he's just done with it anyway. I don't really know. What do you guys think? Apparently I live under a rock. I didn't realize that they were considering reopening this. I didn't realize that it was being brought up again. So what do you guys think? Anyway, that is pretty much it for me. I hope you guys have a wonderful day wherever you are in this world. Take care of each other, take care of yourselves, and I will catch up with you guys in the next video.